So who makes the best cordless angle grinder? We'll get them on the dyno here and see. So I changed a few things up here since we last dynoed the brushed angle grinders. Same load cell, but I have a different motor here to provide the load. This will allow us to load past 1,000 watts, along with 5 DC load cells now, giving us the possibility to push over 2,000 watts, all being controlled with stepper motors by a controller to keep everything fair. So no surprise, the Bauer here did its best run with that new 12 amp hour battery. So the Bauer, I actually added in the brush version we previously tested there. And yeah, I would definitely stay away from the brush version, especially when the brushless is only $5 more. Quite a boost going from that 1.5 to the 3 amp hour, which is to be expected. And then a nice increase when we go from 3 to 5, 8 to the new 12 amp hour here. So your simple on-off button design, plastic grip with the tool in it, grinding shield with that snap style latch. It is interesting how much room they did put at the bottom here for the air inlet, but we do not have removable cleanable screens here. Made in China, and it is the cheapest here, tested with an MSRP of $40. The Dewalt 405 with that new 8 amp hour PowerPack. So I tested both the DCG 405 and the DCG 415, which are brushless here. Now the 405 didn't do too bad, held right there with the 415 until we added the 5 amp hour power stack. Now this does have kick protection and brake, has that simple on-off switch on the side, your air vents on either side of the base here, which can be removed and cleaned, plastic handle, has this locking tab mechanism here for the guard, so instead of having to deal with an actual latch, toolless nut here. So they add some thickness here and some knurling. If you do need to use a tool, comes with an Allen. Made in Mexico with an MSRP of $200. 415, pretty much identical body-wise. Now this does have power detect and a paddle switch. Now using that 5 amp hour power stack and above, this did jump normally between 1 and 200 watts more than the 405. With the highest performance coming from running this new 8 amp hour XR power pack with the tabless batteries. Producing roughly 1,470 watts with the 415. Hercules with that 12 amp hour. Yeah, you don't want to be running that 245 or probably even that 4 amp hour extreme performance. You want to be using a 5 amp hour and above here. You have that push style button on off. Air vents here on either side of the base, which look like they are snapped in. Plastic handle with a little bit of rubber there. Guard is that old school latch style. Comes with a normal tool. And also a disc. Made in China with an MSRP of $80. Heart with the 6 amp hour. Here you want to be looking at running that 4 amp hour or that 6 amp hour. Paddle switch. Appears we're drawing air in up near the motor and it's unprotected here. Plastic handle with a tool inside. 3 positions, so you do have that top hold. Shield has the push latch built in. This does come with a grinding disc along with a cutoff disc and a plastic snap over shield there for when running that cutoff disc. Made in China with an MSRP of $120. Ryobi 12 amp hour. Now I did test the brushed version here, and very similar to the Bauer, you probably want to stay away from this and jump right up to the brushless because the performance is almost double here. With the numbers looking pretty good, running anything with the 3 amp hour here and above. Paddle switch like the Heart, unprotected air inlet again by the motor, rubberized grip here though, along with that third spot, identical shielding as the Heart and grinding disc, along with that cutoff disc and snap over plastic shield. The Ryobi has a toolless nut, so snap it up there and you can easily loosen and tighten the nut. Along with the additional tool if needed, Made in China with an MSRP of $130.
Skill with the 5 amp hour.
Not the best here. I would definitely stay away from that 2 amp hour. You do have a slide button here at the top. You do have air screens here at the base, which are removable. Solid plastic handle with the tool inside, 3 position, snap over guard, and it does come with a grinding disc. We don't have a tool only cost, only a kit cost with an MSRP of $150.
Cobalt with that 8 amp hour.
Ideally to run the 6 amp hour or that 8 amp hour, drawing in air from 2 screened vents here at the base, which are removable, paddle switch, rubberized handle with dampening, along with the tool built in, 3 position, snap latch guard, comes with a total of 5 grinding discs, along with 1 cutoff wheel and the cutoff wheel shield, with a case included. Made in China with an MSRP of $130.
Makita 6 amp hour.
Actually did alright considering what batteries we have to work with here. Paddle trigger, screened air vents at the base which are removable. This does have anti-kickback there and brake. Rubberized grip, snap style shield. Comes with the grinding disc and cutoff wheel, along with a snap over cover there for when you're using that cutoff wheel, and the tool for the nut. Made in China with an MSRP of $220.
Milwaukee with the 6 amp hour forge here.
Quite the boost using the 6 amp hour forge, which is to be expected here. Paddle trigger, ear intakes at the bottom, which are removable for cleaning. Rubberized grip with dampening. 5 position quick change guard there. Tool for the nut, snap over plastic shield there for when using this with a cutoff wheel. This does not come with a disc or a cutoff wheel. Made in China with an MSRP of $200.
The Bosch 8 amp hour.
You really want to be running that 8 amp hour here. It's interesting they designed this tool so you can't use the 12 amp hour. So currently you're only stuck with using that 8. So we have that slide button there. We have our air vents at the bottom, which are removable. Plastic handle, push latch style guard there. So you can cycle that around. Comes with a disc. And this is equipped with the X-Lock. So by pulling this tab, the disc comes off here. And you can see the different design in the center. Snaps back on there like so. Now to test this, I did have to buy this adapter. I'll leave a link below to this adapter here, which clicks right on. Made in China with an MSRP of $140.
Rigid 12 amp hour.
Steady boost there up from the 2 amp hour, which did surprisingly well here. Topping out at 1,387 watts using that 12 amp hour. So paddle trigger, ear vents here at the base, rubberized handle, same guard design there, like the Ryobi, like the Heart, which is to be expected. Also the same grinding disc. Has that toolless nut just like the Ryobi. MSRP of $140, and it's made in China.
Flex with that 10 amp hour stacked lithium.
Using that 3.5 and above performed quite well. And of course, like normal, the stacked lithium did the best here. You have a paddle switch, speed adjustment, air intake vents on the base, which are removable, rubberized grip with dampening, different shield design here than the others, which you can adjust without having to push or pull anything. Comes with a nut wrench and a bag. MSRP of $180, made in China.
Craftsman 9 amp hour.
Did decent with the 4 amp hour and above. Paddle trigger, Intake air vents at the base, but we don't have screens here. Plastic handle with the tool inside. 3-position. Latch style guard. Comes with the grinding disc. Made in Mexico with an MSRP of $130.
Metabo 8 amp hour multivolt.
Yeah, you really got to be running those multi-volt batteries here. This does have the brake and their version of anti-kick. You have the paddle switch, battery indication, along with the auto mode, which lowers the RPM until you actually get the tool under load. Rubberized grip with dampening. Hard to see here, but it does have that button style guard latch. Normal style nut there with the tool. And it comes with the grinding disc. MSRP of $180 and is made in China. So using a 1.7 to 6 amp hour battery, Milwaukee here came out on top, followed by the Dewalt 415 with the 5 amp hour power stack, and then the Flex with the 6 amp hour stacked lithium. Rounding out the bottom, we have the Hercules, Metabo, and Bosch. But when we move up to 8 to 15 amp hours here, things do change quite a bit. With the Dewalt 415 using that new 8 amp hour PowerPack producing 1,471 watts, followed by the Flex with the 10 amp hour stacked lithium, and the Rigid here with the 12 amp hour max. Rounding out the bottom, we have the Bauer, Metabo, and Bosch. Now when the tools are pulled down to 6,000 RPM, Flex actually comes out on top, producing the most power with that 10 amp hour stacked lithium, followed by the Rigid and the Dewalt. Rounding out the bottom though, we do have the Metabo, Hercules, and Makita. I record the time it took to stop the grinding disc. With Makita actually stopping the disc in less than 1 second, and Milwaukee here taking the longest at over 5 seconds. So definitely some pretty interesting data there from the test results. Now I did also capture dB, vibration. So for vibration testing, I did equip the grinder with a disc. I used the same Metabo disc on all of the grinders, and I measured vibration where your palm is going to sit. And I loaded each one down for 2 minutes at 500 watts, and then captured some thermal imaging. I will leave that information along with the normal specs there at the end. But in reality here, the majority of these angle grinders perform quite well when you equip them properly with the right battery. Like normal, I was impressed with the Flex here. Yes, it is 24 volt. Yes, it is stacked lithium here. But of course, there is that anti-kickback. There is the speed adjustment, rubberized handle with vibration dampening, and that easy to move guard. Now both the Dewalts did quite well with that new 8 amp hour tabless battery. I will say I don't care for this hard plastic handle here. They should have did something better in my opinion. Again, the guard is also easily movable. And yes, you could do toolless change with the other ones, but it is nice to see they made this a little bit thicker here with this nut and added some knurling. Now one thing to note, I did previously test the brushed version of the Dewalt, and it was quite impressive, producing over 1,000 watts. So maybe in part 3, we test it with the new 8 amp hour. But from previous testing, yeah, this battery is quite impressive. Definitely with high amp draw tools like grinders and that new DCD 1007. Now I was also quite impressed with the Rigid. It did quite well all the way up, even using that 2 amp hour max battery. It'll be interesting to see how the performance is with this with that new flat stack tabless 4 amp hour. But in the end, I really have to give it to the Bauer here. Coming in at $40, I don't think you can beat this. Yeah, I don't like this bump out here with the unprotected inlet and the old style guard. But overall, how can you beat it when equipped with the new 12 amp hour battery? But again, the majority of these did quite well when properly equipped with the right battery. And it'll be interesting to see if we can boost the performance of the Milwaukee when we get that 8 and 12 tabless batteries. So this is only part 2. Yes, there's plenty more we're going to test, including the 2980 Milwaukee, the newer generation Milwaukee that's coming out, Ryobi, 60 volt Dewalt, and more. Let me know in the comments below which ones you would like to see tested next. Also, if you have any of these and how they've worked for you. Again, there's more data here at the end, but for the majority of you, hopefully you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. I did also capture dB, which is kind of tricky here when you don't have a sound room, but for reference here, you can see the number and listen to the tone. So again, this thermal imaging of each one here was taken after a 500 watt load was applied for 2 minutes to each grinder.